When the only constant in life is change, you need to be ready. This is the Man-Made Survival Show.
Thank you so much for coming back to the channel and watching the video. Hi, my name is Jose from ManMadeSurvival, and today we're going to talk about the possible food shortages that you will experience, or here maybe this year, maybe next year. But the point is that things are getting pretty bad right now, but you still have time to get prepped. Okay, the storable food is not sold out. I don't sell it, but you can still get it. It's still available, and you can still get water at the store. But things are getting pretty bad out there, and you'll find out how and why. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the updated numbers from the coronavirus. As far as the infected go, is 28,262 to 565 dead. And that's very unfortunate. Hopefully they will somehow get rid of this, and hopefully they'll keep it from coming to the United States. All right, so with that being said, let's get into this. Whole Foods shoppers report food shortages and empty shelves at some stores as the company faces supplier issues. This is from businessinsider.com. Okay. Whole Foods said Wednesday that its supplier of private label beans, grains, lentils, and rice unexpectedly closed, leading to shortages of those items nationwide. The company also said they recently faced some weather-related issues that temporarily impacted the supply of lettuce from California. Now, it's not only from California that this is happening from. It's also in Minnesota, in North Dakota, and throughout the states in the United States, and in Canada also, it's happening. They're having problems with the weather. The weather is wet and cold. A lot of snow. It's so wet that they cannot even plant. And so in some places, before the snow hit, they have to harvest it early because otherwise they wouldn't be able to do anything. Some places left stuff on the ground because they couldn't do anything with it. But let's get back into this one, and we'll get into that in a minute. The shortages are irking some customers, and they better get used to it, because I have also experienced that here where I live. In the local Walmart, I have seen the sign that says that this item is temporarily out of stock. Now, I don't know if that was because whoever is managing the stock at Walmart, dropped the ball and they didn't order some before they ran out, or it's because they're also having this issue that they don't have food on the shelves. Okay, now, but let's get back into this. This person said, I cut down on how much I shop there because it's a really frustrating experience, one shopper said. If you look at the shelves where the rice is kept, it is bare. Now, rice is usually something that is very common and widely available, but not this day. Said Mike in Boston, who shops at two Whole Foods stores in Washington, D.C. The problems are irking some customers like Joni Sweet, who says she is recently experiencing shortages of tofu, soy milk, and eggs at her local Whole Foods store. She went on to say, there was almost nothing on the shelves, and even the eggs that were there were broken and smashed. Most of the problems seem to be around produce, but I was there yesterday and half the spice rack was gone as well. In all the years that I have been at Whole Foods customer, I can never remember shelves being so consistently bare and products perpetually out of stock until post at Amazon acquisition. Has demand for food rapidly increased, or is Amazon supply chain actually just brutal? Whole Foods say that it's working to find new suppliers for those products. The process of finding a new supplier could take months, the company said. Now, I'm about to play a video right now that shows the empty shelves right there at the Whole Foods. Here we go.
If you've been in Whole Foods lately, you might have noticed a few items missing and a few empty spaces on the shelves. Many people just figured it was snow related, but tonight we've learned it was something else. Walk into the Rookwood Whole Foods store these days and something might look a little different. We found empty spaces on some shelves that a year or two ago would have been stocked full.
My drinks, the drinks that I usually get were out of stock.
Shoppers like Elizabeth Johnson say some areas look like a supermarket right before a snowstorm. You noticed a few things weren't stocked as well?
There are for sure now. Yes, I just can't tell if it's snow related or not.
But it's not snow related, according to Business Insider, which says it's a chain-wide stocking issue. The shortages are much more noticeable in several other cities, according to Business Insider, where it showed photos of completely empty shelves in New York and Texas. At this Houston store, organic vegetables had been cleared out, while in a New York area store, 2 pineapples looked lonely. In Chicago, packaged greens were on a diet, while in Boston, chickens had apparently flown the coop. Whole Foods and owner Amazon are not commenting, but Business Insider quotes employees who blame a new system called Order to Shelf, or OTS, designed to cut costs and reduce waste. Norwood shopper Brian Innix has noticed.
It's not as consistent as it has been. But I mean, I'm thinking that because of the weather.
But he thinks they may be reducing too much waste. Hopefully they'll get those shelves stocked soon. Now, tonight at 11.
All right, you saw it, and it's happening, and it's horrible, right? And people will have to get used to seeing that, maybe, possibly, if they do not find some type of solution to the problem that is starting to rise, excuse me, here in the United States and throughout the world. But let's get on to this. I have this headline, okay, and this is going to show you why Whole Foods and some Walmarts, because I experienced it, are having issues with supplies or, with food getting stocked on the shelves. Canada, U.S. 2019 Dry Bean Harvest Report. This is from pulsepot.globalpulses.com. In Mexico, the spring-summer bean crop is estimated at around 400,000 megaton, down 52% from the previous spring-summer season. In the U.S., the USDA December 10 crop production reports list the 2019 dry bean crop at 1,079,550 megatons, which that equals to 23.8 million CWT, down nearly 4% from last year, according to StatCan's online database. Access December 16. Canada's dry bean harvest amount to 316,800 megatons, down 7% from last year, and a far cry from earlier expectations of 350 through to 360,000 megatons. This year, Canada growers see an unusually large area to dry beans, which because of the tariffs and quotas affecting lentil, chickpea, and pea exports into major markets like China and India. So they are having a big problem because drought, in Mexico, drought. In the United States, a lot of snow and very wet. And that has a lot to do with the solar minimum going through. But the point is that it's happening, okay? And you have to get ready for it. Now, we're going to get a quick rundown of the states that are affected and how this affects the beans and all the other stuff that these farmers go through. Okay, and before I go there, let's not forget the locusts that are going all throughout Africa and the Middle East. They're eating the crops there, and some estimates they're saying that there's about 360 billion. You heard me right, 360 billion locusts, about a 40-mile wide swarm of them. Okay, and they're eating up everything. They're gonna devastate it. We know that Brazil is also having issues with the corn. They export and import, and they try to keep their own reserves and everything. We know that China has had a horrible time, not only with the coronavirus, but with the swine that has been killed. Right now, the bird flu is going around, and they already had to kill over 17,000 chickens. So the point is that it's not just the United States going to have issues, Canada, Mexico. It's throughout the world. Okay, so there can only be so much going around that, they can help each other before they say that they can't help because they have to take care of their own people. This is why you gotta take care of yourself. Right now, you still have time to get storable food and water. If you cannot afford the storable food, you still have time to get canned beans. You know, whatever can that you and your family may eat, you still have time. If you've been thinking about going ahead and having a small chicken coop, you know, at your house, or raising rabbits, whatever the case may be, you still have time. But the time or the window of getting prepared in that sort of way is closing. So be wise and go ahead and start making plans to go that route, because things can get bad pretty fast. Okay, not including the coronavirus. If we have an outbreak of the coronavirus while we're still having this issue, it can be very, very bad here in the United States. And as the video that I showed before this one on how people react in times of a crisis and on Black Friday, then that can open up your eyes to the reality of how people who are not prepared will react, act, and do whatever they need to feed their family. Okay, your neighbor will not be the nice neighbor anymore. So you have to have a plan. You have to be ready. Communities need to get ready. Okay, municipalities need to get ready. States need to get ready. You need to get ready. Let's move on. Michigan is having problems. Okay, they are the top three beans that they have, or that they harvest, is black bean, navy, and small red beans. Michigan Bean Commission estimated 5% of the crop may have been left unharvested, and overall production may be down 15-20% from the 170,000 megatons. Okay, that's a big number. 15-20%, that's a lot. Let's go on to the next one. Minnesota. On pintos, or this a quote from Mr. Dumbeck. On pintos, we have some good quality, a lot of fair quality, and some poor quality. Because of the late wet conditions, the yields were below average. So they're having issues too. And all these people are having the same problem. Wet conditions, the snow conditions. You know, this winter and the past winter were pretty brutal. We know there were some places that were negative 30 for a couple days. All right, let's move on to North Dakota. Reagan was only able to get half his pinto bean crop off before more snow hit the area. Of the half he did harvest, he says 50% of the pods were crushed flat to the ground. So 50 of the 50%. So Mr. Reagan here in North Dakota, he's having a horrible time. All right, and that has implications down the road, because they cannot sell, and they already spend all this money fertilizing, they spend all this money on water, they spend all this money on tractors. You know, these people, God bless them, because they get big loans, and unfortunately some of these are going under, and that's something we're going to get into here in a minute. Rocky Mountain regions, which contributes significantly on the volume of pinto beans. In the growing season, during the summer, we had more hailstorms than usual, and the hail damage was atypically severe. That was from the Rocky Mountain regions. Okay, they're having a hard time too. In Nebraska, where 80% of the U.S. Great Northern bean crop is produced, an irrigation tunnel collapsed and left an estimated 15,000 acres of dry bean crops without a reliable source of water. By Keller's estimation, between the hail damage and the loss of irrigation, production ended up 25 to 30% below initial expectations. That is huge. Okay, I hope you're starting to understand how horrible the situation is, how grave it is. In Canada, Kevin Sochuk of Biterra estimates Ontario bean growers were able to harvest about 90-95% of their bean crop. In Manitoba, he expects 15% of the beans went unharvested, while the West Canada, 5-7% of the beans crop were left in the field. So Canada is having issues too. And, you know, Canada is very snowy as it is, but they're also having problems with snow and wet conditions. And the markets are going to suffer, which is the next item. This will affect the markets. And here's the quote that these farmers are saying. If we go from the idea of 7 billion CWT crop and assume another 2 million CWT in carryover, we maybe have 9 million CW supply of pinto beans, figures Keller. And the word is that the demand is 11 million. So seeing this, the growers aren't selling. I mean, they are really hurting this year because it's not just the bean crop that was bad this year, it's everything else too. Growers are looking to maximize whatever they manage to harvest this year. So they're having a very hard time right now. So you can see things are very, very bad. Okay. They are 2 million below what they need. Comprehend that, okay? So you're gonna see, and you might say, I don't eat pinto beans, but you never know. These beans are ingredients on some of the things that you may be eating. For example, this lady at the store, she was experiencing shortages of tofu, soy milk, and eggs. Okay. So it's a wide spectrum of things that are happening that are affecting everything else. So we're going to move on to the effects not only on the market, but on the farmers also. And here's a headline from fb.org. The verdict is in. Farmer bankruptcies up in 2019. Reviewing 2019 farm bankruptcies. During the 2019 calendar year, there were 595 Chapter 12 family farm bankruptcies. And that's 100 filings more than 2018. Okay, so I'm going to show a picture here so you can see some of these numbers throughout the map. Chapter 12 bankruptcies by state. During the 2019 calendar year, Chapter 12 farm bankruptcies were the highest in Wisconsin at 57 filings. Following Wisconsin, Georgia had 41 Chapter 12 filings in 2019. Chapter 12 filings were at tied with or above decade-high levels in 10 states, which is Iowa, Illinois, Kansas, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Hampshire, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. And I'm going to show two pictures that go along with this. All right, here we go. Chapter 12 bankruptcies by region. All but 3 regions of the United States experienced higher bankruptcies rate in 2019 compared to 2018. Nearly 46% of the Chapter 12 filings were in the 13 state Midwest region, following by 22% of the Southwest. The Midwest had 273 Chapter 12 filings, while the Southeast had 132 filings. And these are just farms that are going under. Okay, here's the last picture. All right, bankruptcies over the last decade. Over the last decade, there have been more than 5,000 Chapter 12 farm bankruptcies across the United States. So with this report, I hope you can understand how serious things are right now, or how much more worse they can get. Like I said, Mexico's having problems. The United States is having problems. Canada's having problems. China's having problems. Brazil is having problems. India's having problems. So there's problems everywhere right now. And you need to get ready for that, because otherwise you're gonna experience shortages of the shelves too. And that might be something you might have to get used to. But right now, you have the opportunity to, 1, grow your own food, or 2, go ahead and stock up. And you're gonna need different things to stock up with. You can use you don't just have to have storable food. You can package your own beans. You can package your own rice. while it's still available. You can buy cans. You can have all those things, not just one thing, okay? You always want redundancies. And you also, the main thing you want to do is you want to plant stuff during the summer or the growing season in your state, and then eat whatever you weren't able to harvest, right? For example, and by what I mean by that is, if you weren't able to harvest anything, then you can just rely on your storable food and eat off of that, assuming that there's no food at the store anymore. But the point is that you have to be ready for whatever happens. All right. So I encourage you to watch the last video, because it shows how people act and react during the crises, and how they act and react when it's Black Friday, when they try and save money. So, and this is not, putting anybody down that has gone to Black Friday. I go to Black Friday myself. But where I live, it's a pretty small town. So, there's not a rush like that, like you see in those videos, okay? So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this. Please share it. Please like it, and leave a comment, and I'll answer the best I can, or I'll answer them as fast as I can. So again, thank you so much for coming to the channel and watching this video. I hope you learned something, at least at how serious things can get. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for everything that you guys have done so far. Have a great day.
The Man-Made Survival Show.